18th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Nothing was working. I don't know what happened. Hello. I'm here now.
Yeah, I see. Baruch Hashem. Good.
I saw a message, Alan, that said you were trying to connect to my Zoom.
Oh, is that what happened?
You have the wrong link somewhere that you picked up by mistake. That's why I sent you the link again.
Okay.
Good morning, Phil.
What page are we on? Or which number?
Summit Base 9B. And we're up to Rav Nachman in the Gemora. Oh yeah, we that's what we did yesterday. Okay, so right, so let's go without further ado. Let's get right into it here.
9B3?
9B3, Alan.
Okay, got it. 9B3. I'm there. Bottom of the page on the left-hand side.
Let's start from Amar Le Rav Nachman Le'ula.
The right-hand column,
Right.
third paragraph.
Got it. Omerle, right?
Okay, Alan, take it away.
Omerle Rav Nachman La'olah. Rav Nachman said to Ula, Abulei Mar me oni la'oni maha lo kes. The master say instead that the dispute in the Mishnah is in regard to payah collected by a poor man for a different poor man. For example, see that even in that case where the collector requires only one, since argument to establish his right to the payah, the sages rule that he cannot acquire it on behalf of another poor person. Rav Nachman now intends to prove his interpretation of the Mishnah in Payah. Behor Metzia Hakol Ninu its law, for surely all are considered poor in regard to a find. For example, any person in the world is entitled to acquire only his property for himself, just as a poor man is entitled to take payah. Usanan. Yet we have learned in our Mishnah if someone was riding on an animal, or as Hama and he signed a fine for Mar Lacha Miro, and he said to his fellow, Tanoli, give it to me. I'm into a law, and that other person took it. Or Mar Ani Zochi Sibor, and then said, I have acquired it for myself. So Har is indeed acquired it for himself. Apparently, the Mishnah is discussing a case in which the pedestrian initially picked up the fine on behalf of the rider, and only afterwards reconsidered and decided to keep the fine for himself. Nevertheless, the Mishnah rules that the initial act of acquisition on behalf of the rider was not effective, and the pedestrian can keep the fine for himself. Now, the Mishnah's ruling is understandable. If you say, may ani or ni makalo kes, that the dispute in the Mishnah in Peah is in regard to Peah collected by a poor man for a poor man, as I, Rav Nachman, maintain.
Okay, let's take a look at see if we have some Rashis over here. Le Mamar. That's the Rashi that we want to start with today. Right in the middle of this big fat block of Rashis, lines, towards the end of the line. Le Mamar de'afilu me'ani la'ani. That's what Rav Nachman said to Ula.
I hope you don't have too much background noise where I am.
Oh, you got the background noise?
No, I'm okay. You're okay? Do you hear me okay?
Yeah. I cut out the background noise.
Okay, well, no, I'm just, it may be. I'm trying to, where is this Lamor Ma? Lamor?
It's, you see the big, the block of Rashi, right after the Gemora. It's like 7 lines down from the Gemora, 8 lines down where the Rashi starts to comment on the Gemora.
Wait a second, the Gemara. Trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure how far we've gotten, on which page now we're at.
On
It's two.
Tes Amud Beis, 9b.
Okay, fine. I see the Gemara, and it's after the Gemara, and we did the Migos.
Yeah.
The Lamer Ma, the Philo Ma'ani, even,
Right.
and they'll say to
Right.
the master, even from a poor person to a poor person, Omar Rabbanan, Omar Rabbanan, the Lo Zache. Well, but the Rabbanan says that he doesn't get you, he doesn't acquire it.
Right, because this is now going to be the machlokes between Ula and Reb Nachman. Ula spoke before Reb Nachman, and he said that this Mishnah in Peah, which has a machlokes between the Rebbe Elazar and the Chachamim, he said it was talking about when you have an usher who wants to be zocha for an ani. But in the case of an ani who wants to be zocha for an ani, he said there's no machlokes in that case. Now along comes Ula, and Ula says that no, the case of machlokes between Rebbe Elazar and the Rabbanan in the Mishnah in Peah is in fact the case where ani picks up the Peah and he wants to be mezakeh a second ani in that Peah. That's only a case of chad migu. Migu that he could be zocha in it for himself. He could be zocha in it for a second ani. And on that, Reb Nachman claims that the Rabbanan say, no, he can't even do that. Even one migu he cannot do. Where's all that noise?
Is that me? Should I mute myself unless I have to say something? I can mute.
Okay, it's quiet. Thank you. Okay. So that's the setup that we got so far. And now Rav Nachman is now proceeding to prove his point. He's going to prove his point now. That the machlokes in Peah is like he says and not like Ula says. How's he going to prove his point? He's bringing in our Mishnah about the rider who says to the guy that's walking, he spots a Metzia on the ground. He says, "Give me, listen, give me that Metzia over there." And the guy goes over and takes it, and then before he gives it to the guy, he says, "Oh, I'm Anizachisi Bo. I want to be Zocha in this that I picked up for myself." And we say that it works. He could be Zocha in for himself. Zocha Bo, the Mishnah says. So now, okay, so the next Rashi, let's before we get too far afield over here, let's take a look at the next Rashi. Rashi Dibra Maskil Daha Metzia Hakol Anim Etzla. And we go to Lu.
Laha Metzia Hakol Anim Etzla. This find for all poor people is by them. Etzla.
Klomer Hakol Kesherim Liskos Bo Ka'anim Bepeah. That.
Okay, well, I was reading the Dibra Maskil. I was wondering what the last word of the Dibra Maskil. Etzla.
Etzlo. That's you got the wrong Dibra Maskil.
No, it's the right one. The Etzler is by him. All are considered four by him.
Oh, the end of the. I'm sorry. End of the. Yeah. The Metzia Hakol Anim Etzlo. By it, meaning referring to the Metzia. In regard to this Metzia, this item over here that's laying hefker on the ground, everybody is regarded as an ani. In regard.
I see. Okay. Klamar Hakol Kesherim L'Zechus Ba Kanani Niim Bepeah. That is to say, all who are appropriate to acquire it, they're like aniyim with payah. They're like poor people with payah. The corners.
Yes, all. Yeah, Hakol Sherim. Everyone is fitting and appropriate and capable Lizkos Bo to make an acquisition in this hefker item. Kanim Bepeah, just like all anim are fitting and appropriate to make an acquisition in payah. So that's why we say everybody's an ani in regard to in regard to a Metzia. Just like an ani is kosher for a payah, as opposed to other people who are ashirim who are not kosher lepayah. But everyone is an ani, meaning that they're kosher. They can make an acquisition when it comes to a Metzia. Okay, so that's the first given that Rav Nachman is putting down over here in his reasoning over here. That's the first thing that we got. So in other words, the rider who's riding on the animal, he's like an ani in regard to this Metzia that's on the ground over there. he's certainly capable of making an acquisition in it, just like any ani would be fitting to make an acquisition in Peah. As long as it's not his own field, he could make an acquisition in the Peah. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the next Rashi, Utanan. And we learned in a Mishnah. Which Mishnah? Our Mishnah. The Mishnah on Tes Amud Beis, about the rider and the pedestrian. So we go to Phil to continue the reading. We got a Rashi over here, Utanan.
Okay, see if it's not too bad with the background noise. I'll try to see if you have that. I'm sorry. The Tanan, it was taught. Be a Metzia, somebody who picks up a Metzia, or something found object, Chavero, for his friend. Lo kana Chavero. The friend does not acquire it. Below Omri and Amigo, and we don't say Amigo on this one. The E have a, because if he ba'ihu, he needs it. Zachay le'eshav. He can then acquire it for himself. Zachay name, he should acquire it also lachaver for his friend. Ki magba la kula, because he lifted all of it. L'shem chavero, and from his friend. The Tanan Haya Roche, that he was riding on it.
Okay. I think what Rashi, let's. I think Rashi's saying a simple thing, and even though it's a bit tricky over here, we're learning in the Mishnah. First, he says, those are not the words of the Mishnah. Not sure. I'm a little bit confused why Rashi said those words.
Well, the question is whether you're allowed to pick up a fine just for the friend. You could pick it up for yourself and give it to the friend, but it's a little different picking it up. I'm picking up for him. You could do that, but if he picks up himself, then he should be able to be zacha. Then because that ability is now his to give to his friend. He can give it to the friend.
We don't say this. We don't say this second migu of since he could be zocha in it for himself, he could be zocha in his friend. Because in that case, I guess he means to say he's picking it up completely for his friend. This non hayarochev. Okay, what Rashi's saying is like this. Somebody picks it up, picks up an item for the purpose of being mezaka his friend. Rashi says it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And we don't say this second migu. Migu the boy, if he wanted to, just because of the fact that if he wanted to, he could pick it up for himself. Therefore, he could pick it up for his friend, and his friend could make a kinyan. We don't say that. Lo amrina, says Rashi. Why don't we say that? Because because over here, but why? Because he's picking it up completely for his friend, not for himself at all. And then Rashi says that, and that's as it says in the Mishnah, Hayarochev. Oh. Yeah, I think what Rashi's saying is like this. This guy, the pedestrian, he originally picked it up for the rider, and he didn't pick it up to acquire any part of it himself. And Rashi's saying that, and then he decided he wants to acquire it for himself, and he could do that. He could acquire it for himself. So Rashi is saying that the reason why he could acquire it for himself is because when he first initially picked it up for the rider, he did not acquire it for the rider, because according to our Mishnah here, we do not say this migu of migu de zochel nafshe zochel nami lechavre. We don't say that it's so. Why is it not so? Rashi says because he didn't intend to make any acquisition for himself at all initially, only for Chavero, and that doesn't work. Only if he wants to that doesn't work. And so when he originally, step one is he took it for the rider, and he did not make an acquisition like that, because we don't say that works. Our Mishnah says that doesn't work. According to our Mishnah, that does not work. When person number one picks up an object to be mazaka a second person totally, and not to be zocha in it all for himself, it doesn't work according to our Mishnah. And that's the reason why in step two, when he changed his mind and he says, I want to be zocha in this for myself, he can do it, because up until that time, the rider was not zocha in it. It remained hefker. Okay.
But what is the Kenyan? He's not picking it up. It already was picked up. When he says it's mine, what's the Kenyan?
Where's the Maisa Kenyan that he's now deciding to pick it up? Now he's deciding to acquire it for himself?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, Rashi's not getting into that. Rashi's not telling us how that works exactly. You're right. Presumably, he does need to make a Kenyan. He needs to do an act of acquisition right now to acquire it for himself. So where's his act of acquisition at this point? Well, maybe he's going to do. Maybe now that he has it in his hand, and it's basically hefker. Maybe he's going to right now do a hagbah and say I'm acquiring it for myself right now. So that hagbah that he's going to do right now, that will be his act of acquisition to acquire this item, which is available to be acquired, because the rider never acquired it, because you cannot, because the pedestrian is not able, according to this Mishnah, to pick it up and have the rider acquire it 100%. Okay. Now we go to the next Rashi. But Omar, now this is what we're describing right now. Omar ani zechisibo. Yeah, Lou's turn.
For myself. Kasaka daisa, ani רוצה לזכוס בה עכשיו. You might think that he says, I want to acquire it for myself right now. Kamar umodahu samasile shemitachila hadba l'shem chavero. That is to say that he admits that initially he lifted it up to acquire it for his friend. Ukasani zacha ba alma lo kana kavero. What is this word ukasani?
And we learned in the Mishnah,
and we learned
Mishnah teaches us
that he acquired it he did not acquire it for his friend.
Kitani Zochabo, that he acquired it. He, the pedestrian, acquired it. Zochabo is referring to the pedestrian.
Right? And not his friend.
And that's what Rashi says now. Almost. So therefore we see
his friend did not acquire it.
His friend never acquired it. Because if his friend had already acquired it at the time that the pedestrian picked it up, intending for the rider to acquire it, then so now when it's in the hand of the pedestrian, it belongs to the rider. He can't make a kinyan in that item right now. He can't say, "Oh, I changed my mind. I want to acquire it myself." It's too late. Tough luck. You already picked it up with the intention to acquire it for the rider, and now it belongs to the rider. So there's nothing you can do now to change that. So it must be that if in fact he is able to acquire it now, as Rashi explains, kasoka daitok means when Rashi says kasoka daitok over here, he means to say that the Gemora's in this step right now, the Gemora's understanding that this is how the Mishnah is to be understood. And it implies when he says kasoka daitach that we are going to go away from this understanding in the upcoming lines. But right now, this is the way the Gemora understands the Mishnah, according to the way that Reb Nachman is explaining it. And so that this confirms exactly the way we were explaining the previous Rashi. When this pedestrian picks it up, even though he's picking it up with the intention that the rider should acquire it, he's not able to make that acquisition for the rider. It does not work. because we don't hold. The Mishnah doesn't hold. We don't lo amrinin migu de havi boy havi zochel nafshe zochanami lechavi. We don't hold that, and so therefore, even when he picks it up with that intention in mind, it doesn't work. The writer did not acquire it, and now therefore, subsequent to that, the pedestrian can say, I want to make a kinyan in it. Ani wrote Zelis Kot Bo Akshav. He's not saying I had this in mind when I picked it up, that I wanted it for myself, and I never intended to give it to the writer. So that's what Art Scroll was saying. Art Scroll is right. he tried to do it for the writer, and then he changed his mind, and he did it for himself. And the Mishnah says it works. He's able to make a kinyan. Why? Because he was unsuccessful to make a kinyan for the writer. Didn't work. Okay. And Rashi's taking us step by step through each phrase in the Gemara. Rashi's got a whole explanation over here. Now we go to the next phrase in the Gemara, Iyamart Bishlema, and we got a Rashi to help us out. Very good. This is a Gemara reader's dream. That Rashi has a nice comment on each line of the Gemara over here.
Okay. If you would say Bishlema, that it's understandable that the ani la'ani is a machlochet, that there's a machlochet in the case when he's giving it from one ani to another ani. The Amre Rabbanan, because Rabbanan say lo amin and migo. We don't say it's migo. The zache l'nafshe zachinami l'chadero. That if he acquires it for himself, he's also acquiring it for his friend. Ella rather, eicha here, the hagbiya, that he lifted it l'dat shneim, with the intention of both of them to go.
Something froze.
These and way to
Metzia.
Modim, the time that they agreed, Cholki, they were divided. Below, make a sure on it. The time reason is Mishul Migo, because it's a Migo. The Zache that he can acquire it. The Hagba Zo Lunafsha, when he does sell Zache Amabero, he will also acquire his respect. Chevo Migo. Why did he Chevo Migo? It's another Migo. The Ibai Uzachi, that if he wants the Zachi in a show, he wants to acquire for himself, Zachi V'lefchenim, he will acquire for friends, low immunity. Don't say. You know what that word Chevo, the Chevo is in there.
Which word?
Chevel.
Hevel.
In the middle. Chevel Migo.
Okay, so this so Rashi's saying that the Rabbanan, right? Remember we got a machlokes between Rabbi what's his name? Wait, Rabbi Rabbi Eliezer and the Rabbanan. When Rashi's saying Rabbanan over here, he's talking about the Rabbanan in the Mishnah in Peah, because those are the Rabbanan that Reb Nachman is saying. They hold that there's a machloikis between getting mixed up today, can't talk. Reb Nachman says that the Rabbanan argue with Rabbi Eliezer, even in the case of an ani who's taking the peah in order to be mezaka, the ani number 2, not for himself, only for ani number 2. The Rabbanan say it doesn't work. Doesn't work. He can't do it. He can't do it. And Rabbi Eliezer says, yeah, he could do it. And so now those Rabbanan that are in that Mishnah over there in Peah, they're the Rabbanan of this Mishnah over here, says Reb Nachman, because we see the same thing over here. We see that, right, we're talking about a Metzia, and a Metzia, everybody is an ani. The rider's an ani in regard to the Metzia, and so is the pedestrian. Either one of them can make an acquisition in that item for himself. He's authorized and qualified and capable of doing so. But he cannot do an acquisition totally for the other person. It doesn't work, like we explained in the previous Rashi. That's what the Rabbanan is saying over here. The Amir Rabbanan lo yamrinin migu de zocha lenafshe zocha nami lechavre. We do not say this migu that says that since he would be theoretically capable of picking it up for himself and making an acquisition, he could therefore make a total 100% acquisition for the other person. We don't say that he could do that, says the Rabbanan. Where did the Rabbanan agree that you could make an acquisition? Only if he's picking it up ladas shneim for this with in mind that both of them will make an acquisition in this item. And that was one of the ways that we explained. Rashi says now the Mishnah with the talis. Or that case too. 2 people pick up a hefker item that Rava said that word ba. It should be a Rava. Rava said that he said above on Daf Ches, I guess. Gabi bisman shehem modim chokim below shavua. When both of them are modeh, they divide without a shmua. The timer mishum migu, because over there the reason is because of the migu of migu de zocha bahagba zu lenafshe zocha nami lechavre. Notice that this migu is not the same migu as the migu that Rashi said in the beginning of this Rashi, and that our Gemora is talking about over here when it was discussing Rabbi Eliezer and the Rabbanan. This migu says migu that he could be zocha with this ma'aseh hakbar that he's doing for himself. Migu that he is, rather, not that he could be, that he is in fact zocha with this hakbar that he is doing for himself. He can also at that same time have in mind to be mezakeh chavero also in this item that he is picking up with himself in mind as well. So he's having, that's called lidas shneim, that he has both in mind, himself to make a kinyan, and also that the other person should also make a kinyan in the lost item as well. But then Rashi reiterates, aval, but don't forget, migu de iboy have zochel nafshe. If the migu that says that if he would want to make an acquisition in this, this item, he would be able to do so. He's not actually making an acquisition right now, but if he would want he would be able to do so. They could therefore be mizaka for his friend 100% without him getting anything at all. Lo amrinan, we do not say that migu, according to Rabbanan. So that's what Rashi is explaining over here.
Okay, good. Take care. Thank you. Finish the page.
Okay.
Next
Thank
time.
you so much.
Well.
That was very
Thank you.
clear.
Lucy at 4.
Okay, Alan.
Okay,
All
thank
the
you.
best, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody good
Have a
night.
good day.
You too.